Today in this video, we're gonna be talking about some of the craziest feats of Darkseid, basically like a goon video. Genius, which part should we do? Should we do the death metal stuff like death metal era and Infinite Frontier right now, or should we do the pre-death metal stuff and then the Infinite Frontier and whatnot? Uh, uh, I mean, I mean, basically, I'm gonna premiere this, so like, it'll be premiered on my channel. Uh, yeah, I guess. I, I don't have a script for this either. So I flipped a coin, and I guess we're gonna start with the pre-death metal stuff. I guess that makes sense too, in a way, because that'll enable us to show how much stronger this new Darkseid is. So, um, with that, so yeah, basically everything before yes, everything before his like everything before that, like his death, basically everything before his death, all of his feats before that, we can include that. Speaking of which, we should probably start off with his death. Here. So basically, Darkseid has died, like his true form has died 2 times. And both times it was pretty crazy. So the first time he literally was falling on existence, like his fall from heaven would threaten to destroy everything. Mind you, from heaven, not just like Apocalypse. He was in a higher realm than even that, which is, remembering, Apocalypse is the realm of, like, one of the two realms of good and evil, sort of thing. And we have to remember that the Bleed has each of those Earths is a multiverse, and as we know, there are infinite of these universes, which are really multiverses in the Bleed. The guide with Overgirl and Overman says such. It says she is the first person from Earth 10 to cross the bleed barrier between multiverses. So even if you don't want to say that the bleed map on the map show those are just universes, there are still multiverses in the bleed. And the universe itself has infinite dimensions, and the bleed is basically this vibration that transcends all of that. So bleed should be outer. You agree, Genius? Let us see. Another thing is that when he kills scot-free during Final Crisis, he describes him as the master of the life equation, which comes from the source, avatar of freedom. So, like, scot-free is literally the embodiment of the concept of freedom, And that's just crazy to think about, because the life equation represents this freedom and it represents hope and freedom, basically. And the anti-life represents the opposite of that. Yes, and he's said to have been groomed by the new gods to be the hero of the source and to embody the spirit of all things. So he embodies like the spirit to continue on in all things, whilst Darkseid is described as like the dark tiger force within all things. That's a pretty famous quote, I'm certain, from the Imaginary Axis video. Anything else? Genius? And go ahead. Did I interrupt you? And we also have to consider, like, Genius is right. It's verbatim stated by, like in the issue, an issue with where it's showing how Perpetua influenced all of the crises. It said how Darkseid's death caused ripples in the monitor space, and we already know from people like YFV and from the Justice League Odyssey. Sorry, we're skipping ahead, but like it's already stated in there and confirms that Darkseid is above the concept of every hero just in his base form. Like he's beyond the concept of heroes, which should include beings like Cosmic Armor Superman, who gets a lot of hype that he doesn't even deserve. Yeah, and as for the source corruption feat, like it was said that when he was fighting Orion and stuff, that he let himself get killed by Orion because that sort of cosmic sin would corrupt and infect the source. So even killing Darkseid, that could be a part of his plan. You can't risk killing Darkseid even if you have the ability. We know Spectre tried to, but like he's a necessary negative. It the source is telling him how Darkseid's like a part of a battery, a positive and a negative. Without the negative, there's no power for the battery, i.e., life in creation. So Darkseid's literally connected to the power and life of creation itself. And the source made him and all that though, but like he has been able to affect the source. We also know that at one point in one of his battles, like he's like growing and expanding and becoming everything in this battle he has. So that's pretty crazy too. Yeah, he another crazy thing he's done is just the removal of his avatar from a universe caused that universe to like be destroyed. So just um yeah, his power literally is connected to life and creation. And another thing is that during the Green Lantern stuff, like a Green Lantern thing where he got the power of the green battery, he literally terrified the Owens. The same Owens who have at least universal levels of power, the same Owens who have like literally Superboy Prime absorbing one of them after they tried to self-destruct and save everyone made him stronger. So that power has to be it has to be a level of substantial, otherwise he wouldn't try absorbing it, yet alone just try dealing. He'd just kill the Owen off the bat. So yeah. And that, like I said, Darkseid is above the concept of hero, evil, that sort of stuff, and so that means he really should be above Superboy Prime casually. It's not even funny. The same Phantom Zone. Same Phantom Zone that's a permeable layer between the dark multiverse and the light multiverse. The same Phantom Zone that should actually scale directly to the DC Hell, which should be a realm that transcends Apocalypse and New Genesis, but Darkseid can affect that. Darkseid's been able to affect realms and locations that transcend his own world or realm with no difficulty. Yeah, let's see. Uh, I'm trying to wait for my page to load, but, perhaps you want to talk about some feats that you've seen him do, like, against Superman. Because we know how he can be with Superman and how he casually folds him sometimes. yeah, Darkseid basically his losses are forced. Like they can't. There's no reasonable way for Darkseid to really be losing to Superman, but like that's they have to make a way because that's how the comics have to go. And another thing is that Darkseid, uh, he has fought against like in the future, 1,000 years after he wakes up, Superman and Supergirl both had to hit him to knock him down and out. Uh, his archetype is just crazy. Um, he just like Darkseid in base, his avatars, like yeah, his not avatars, but emanations maybe is the proper term. But like his emanations or lower forms have been able to affect the source wall, the source, and we know that true form Darkseid basically is the negative charge that all life in the universe has to needs in order to survive. So basically, without Darkseid's negative, there is no life at all. And the source, as we know, is the it created all life and whatnot. So Darkseid, like most of the new gods, is an aspect of the source, but he's like one of the more major aspects. He's not just like a small piece or anything like that. He's a mate. Like the source is a part of the source. I'd say can't even function without him because the source is all life and made all life. So. Hmm. The I think I found it. My page should load and it should now have all of the scans, I believe. Uh, should we talk? Oh, I think we're gonna skip ahead into the rebirth stuff. I'm just gonna start off with Hal Jordan as the quote unquote god of light, and basically, Hal Jordan's gets access to a mother box that enables him to basically become this. He literally becomes light itself. He it literally verbatim says he is light itself, and so like more proof that Darkseid scales above dualities, and more proof that new god technology can affect dualities, like that sort of stuff. We know that the mother box amped Cyborg, like when he becomes fused with it in Odyssey, he still can't even comprehend Darkseid's plans. Yeah. Uh, thank you very much. Yuga Khan, Darkseid's father, designed these nth metal golems to kill the new gods when they surpassed him. These nth metal golems were gonna be used to free Yuga Khan from the source wall too, and uh, well, they're called nth metal golems, but they're also known as eschaton soldiers. I did a video on the I did a video talking about the eschaton at one point. Like, not specifically the eschaton, but they came up in it, and I'll link that. But the eschaton are basically the end of the fourth world, i.e. the end of the new gods as a concept entirely. Like, they fade away, either because they're killed, like we've seen with this perpetual breaking the source wall thing, or because they transcend to these even higher levels like Darkseid did. So, yeah, would you like to add anything? Yeah, Darkseid's servant Darkseid, who can casually get erased by him. Darkseid used technology and his own power to use the Black Racer in order to alter the anti-life equation itself, and it became that infection, hence deceased, the deceased storyline, because Darkseid made it into a sort of like zombie thing, zombie apocalypse. I'm not gonna go further into that. I am not so good with the storytelling of that stuff, but suffice to say, technology that can alter the literal anti-life, a part of the source, further cements his power. Hold on 1 second. You can talk more about feats. I need to go check something. Yes.
You know those pictures you took for me?
Yes.
Can you send them to me?
The what?
The ones that you took in the microwave?
Okay.
You never sent them to me.
Okay. Sorry, I just had to send something to someone. Perhaps, could you go over the universe? Like, just talk about the DC universe and just how the universe itself should be high hyper to possibly even outer. Where are you gonna post those? Like in the Darkseid or like the universe for DC stuff channels? Yeah. Thank you. So basically, the DC universe, it's been stated that it's infinite. Superman crossed a infinite distance at one point. Like, it was said to be beyond time and space with how much he crossed. So you could argue right off the bat that Superman's crossing outerversal distances within the universe. Remember, there are an infinite amount of universes in the multiverse. The multiverse, i.e., the multiverses in the bleed, are transcended, literally transcended by the bleed. So bleed is outer. Speed Force wall transcends that. So the Speed Force wall is at least. You could argue it's high outer. I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna say it's another layer into outer, and then we know the God spheres are high outer with how they transcend all of the concepts of that. It's all good. Let's see. Darkseid should should also based off the bleed and stuff. Like Darkseid should scale above the real world because the bleed contains fictional transcendences in the form of Earth 33 with that fictive layer. Um, we know there are an infinite number of these multiverses, and we know that in multiversity that the other Earths view each other as fiction. Some are viewed as comics by the other, and the other is viewed by comics by the other, sort of thing. So that, so by that, one could argue that Darkseid has 52 fictional transcendences. He has outer-versal transcendences, and he then has then he has the archetypal transcendences too. So he's really just crazy in that true form. Let's see. There is the feat of... perhaps we should talk about, the metaverse. Would you like to explain what the metaverse is, or the multiverse? Maybe Genius is lagging. I'll go over I'm gonna go over some other stuff, I guess, for DC, Darkseid. At the end of this video, I'm gonna go into Soulfire Darkseid, which is gonna be crazy. But for now, I'm gonna go over hypertime, which is basically said to be like this. If time is linear and there are a bunch of timelines and branches, so hypertime is a weaving, like a web of these timelines. Just for places within space and time. We also know that there's that Morrisonian cosmology, which is the idea of being from a higher dimension, quote unquote. Of course, higher dimension means outer, or like another higher reality, outerversal reality. Being from these higher realms means you have infinitely more control over the lower realms. So, we also know this because when Darkseid was falling from heaven and whatnot, he was literally, his shadow was just cracking at the multiverse. It was going to destroy the multiverse. We know that time is completely irrelevant up here because he shot a bullet in the future to kill Orion in the past, so that the battle in which he's fighting with him, which is in the past, he wins it. So that's crazy too. We also know that when Darkseid and the evil gods start winning, the good gods are losing the war, and the heroes start losing the war too. Yeah. The time stream is described as a realm beyond time and space in it. And so, literally outerversal off the get-go, so don't try using the name fallacy. Or don't fall to it. Mixie's power used by Emperor Joker was it wasn't his power, but like the anti-life was what. That's how Emperor Joker beat Darkseid, even after the quintessence was affected by his madness powers. And so, like, why would he use the anti-life when he could have used his own powers? What if Darkseid is so what if Darkseid is either equal to and what if Darkseid is equal to those powers, or at least relative enough to where those powers don't affect him? That's really the only explanation, to be honest, because like why else would he use the anti-life? Emperor Joker was destroying creation. The scan where here's the scan where Darkseid gets affected by the new anti-life equation. The infinite moments of all of existence seem sequential to mortals, but it's all just like one single act for the gods of hypertime, like the gods who are in hypertime. They're striking, like they can strike in millions of moments that they've never seen and perhaps never will. It's crazy. Wonder Woman says here that gods and new gods like Darkseid are self-aware ideas that use concept, weapons, anti-life equations, hunter-killer metaphors in order to, like, those are their weapons of war. They don't use any sort of physical weapons. They literally use abstract, like, metaphysical ideas like themselves. Concept weapons, you know? Hypertime is the conglomeration of all realities. Yeah. I don't really feel like going over Soulfire Darkseid right now because I got stuff to do, but I'll be back. Yeah. Thank you for your appearance, Genius. Your help was both appreciated and will always be welcomed. I'll shout him down in the channel below, but in the comments below, in the description. We're gonna be premiering this video, so you can ask more questions too, and I'll be there to answer. If Genius can be there to answer, I hope he can be. Other than that, have a great day, guys, and remember, there are an infinite amount of worlds and universes, and you appeared in this one.